The APC PMB regime, President Muhammadu Buhari regime, is a regime that is determined to enslave Nigerians. It is a totalitarian regime. But the only language such a regime understands is resistance. The Nigerian people must resist enslavement. And I call on other Nigerians not to see it as just affecting Sowore or Agbajalingo. An attack against the fundamental right of any person is an attack against the fundamental right of all of us. And we must condemn it. We must rise up to peacefully protest against such an arrest. Because the Constitution recognizes the right to protest, to take action peacefully against government policies. Once the Constitution recognizes a right as a right, such a right is not an ordinary right. Such a right is a fundamental right for the simple reason that it is a right enshrined in the fundamental law of the land. What in Latin is called the fons et origo, the source and origin of our law. Therefore, President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC are telling Nigerians that they are not prepared to govern Nigeria as a civilized society. In the case of Chief Mrs. Olufunmilayo Ransome-Kuti versus the Attorney General of the Federation, reported in 1985, Nigeria Weekly Law Report, second volume, part 6. The Supreme Court held that fundamental rights precede the political society, and the recognition of a fundamental right by any government is an index that society is a civilized society. Therefore, when a regime does not recognize fundamental right, particularly the fundamental right to assemble freely, to protest freely, that such a government, is saying that it does not deserve to remain in power for a second. The Supreme Court has held that fundamental rights given by the Constitution can only be taken away in ways allowed by the Constitution. So it is not allowed, it is unacceptable that Nigerians will be arrested for expressing themselves, for assembling, or for advocating for peaceful protest.